All right, back again. This time I'm going to speak a little bit about the restricted free agency and free agency in our Ultimate Fantasy League. For the restricted free agency, the idea behind this is just to try to create as much parity as possible within the league. So immediately following that second arbitration period after the regular season, we'll have a restricted free agency period. And this will last probably another 2 weeks, something that we can decide as a board. But the idea of this is to give the bottom half of the league first opportunity or dibs to sign the free agents before the teams that finish in the upper half of the league. So try to give those teams that suck a chance to be good the next year. So restricted free agency will work very similarly to the arbitration period with the same formula, but it will have two major differences. This is for any player that has an expiring contract, whether that is someone on your team or someone else's team at the end of the year. And then the average point per salary, it will only be multiplied by 1.25 rather than the 1.5 during arbitration. So you're still going to overpay a little bit, but not nearly as much as you would during the arbitration period. So here is another hypothetical example for someone wanting to bid on quarterback Alex Smith. There's the formula for the top 30 weeks, finding the average point, the average price per point with the formula down there, and I have this in Microsoft Excel also. There's a restricted free agency contract amount. This time it's only multiplied by 1.25. So if you want to extend Aaron Rodgers, you type in the 92 points that, let's say, he has at the end of the season, hit enter, and there is your new contract amount that you would have to offer Aaron Rodgers. Now, you'd have to offer him that in order to re-sign him. Now, here is a couple of rules to remember during the restricted free agency period. There are no bids for the player that meet the minimum amount. The player will then enter free agency. So let's say nobody wants to spend that money on Aaron Rodgers. No bids during the restricted free agency period on Aaron Rodgers, even though his contract has expired. That player then goes to free agency and anybody can bid on him. If there are multiple bids for the same player that meet the minimum amount for the player, the highest bidder will sign that player to their team for the amount of years disclosed with the bid. So you may only submit one bid per player during both the restricted free agency period and the free agency period. We'll set a deadline. We'll send it to a generic league address so that everyone has access to it and knows that I'm not looking at the bids or someone else is looking at the bids to try to one-up someone. It's going to remain anonymous, or I should say a secret, until the deadline day, and then following the deadline day, we'll open all the bids up, look at them, and decide who wins what. See who wins what. Now, like I said, the bid with the most amount of total money will be rewarded the restricted free agent. So if Team A bids 3 years and $5 per year, like in this example, that equals $15 total. But Team B offers an extra year at only $4, and that equals $16. The player would be rewarded at Team B. Like I said, we will decide the date for the restricted free agency period, the bids that they must be due, and emailed to me or the generic league commissioner address, which I will create later if we have enough interest in this league. And we'll use the same formulas for quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, and defensive special teams. Free agency is very self-explanatory. That's basically whoever wants to spend the most amount of money, who has the highest bid. There's no minimum. There's no it's just open free agency. Whoever has the highest bid by the deadline gets that player. No minimums, no certain teams can bid on players. It's just everyone and all the players that are not under contract that you can have. You can bid on them during free agency. All right, like I said, always welcome to call, email, text with questions if you need some clarification.